Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're getting into a true classic of achievement literature. We've got a whole stack of material on David J. Schwartz's bestseller, The Magic of Thinking Big.
A massive one, yeah.
Exactly. But here's the interesting part. We're not just looking at the book itself. Our sources really zero in on the audiobook experience, which they describe as incredibly powerful and energetic.
Right.
So our mission today is to pull out the core principles. We want to find those nuggets that explain, mechanically how thinking big actually leads to real results in your career or your life.
And critically, not just as motivational hype. The sources are clear that this is rooted in, behavioral psychology.
Which is the perfect place to start, because the whole thing is built on this one huge idea, isn't it?
It is. It's this premise that basically functions like a self-fulfilling prophecy. You become what you believe.
Okay.
And, that's not just a nice phrase. It's a mechanism. Schwartz is arguing that your thoughts, your beliefs about your own limits, they become the actual physical boundaries of your life.
So if you think small, you live small.
You live small, your actions are small, everything stays small. And what you really need to get is that, in his framework, success isn't really for, the super genius or the person with some innate talent. It's almost all about mindset. It's about your attitude, this belief in what's possible, and then having the courage to actually try big things. Most limitations, according to this research, are just self-made. They're not real barriers.
Okay, let's unpack that then. Let's start with the biggest roadblock the book identifies.
Yeah.
One habit that just kills potential before it even starts.
Right. He gives it a very memorable name, Excusitis.
Excusitis. I like that.
And the reviews we have say hearing this chapter in the audiobook is just a massive wake-up call. He calls it a disease. A crippling, pervasive disease.
What is it exactly?
It's that instant habitual reflex to explain away why you failed or why you didn't act with some kind of, comforting excuse.
It's basically an avoidance mechanism. It makes you feel better in the moment, but it costs you everything long-term.
Exactly.
What are some of the classic examples the sources bring up?
Oh, they're painfully familiar.
Yeah.
You've got the competency excuse, I'm just not talented enough, or I'm not smart enough.
Sure.
Then there's the time one, I just don't have the time, which is almost always a priority problem, not a calendar problem. And maybe the worst ones are about age and connections. I'm too old to start this, or I'm too young, and of course, I don't know the right people.
And the analysis in our sources is pretty clear. These aren't just harmless little comments we make to ourselves.
No, not at all. They're actively destructive. The problem with an excuse is that it's a closed loop. The second you accept it, you stop looking for a solution.
It just shuts down all possibility.
It drains all your energy, because instead of using your brain to solve the problem, you're using it to justify why you can't. And the audiobook narration apparently is just relentless here. It's like a coach calling you out, making it impossible to hide.
An uncomfortable wake-up call.
The very uncomfortable but very necessary one.
Okay, so if excusitis is what stops action, let's talk about what starts it. This brings us to the first major lesson. Believe you can succeed. And you will. Now, let me push back on that a little, because that sounds like pure motivational fluff. Where's the proof? How does belief alone actually change behavior?
That's a fair challenge, and that's where the behavioral psychology part comes in. This isn't passive wishful thinking. He's arguing that belief is the switch. It's what activates the specific behaviors you need for success.
How so?
Well, when you truly believe, your whole mental filter changes. You literally stop scanning the world for reasons you'll fail, and you start automatically noticing the reasons you can succeed.
So it changes what you pay attention to.
It changes everything. You start taking what he calls success-oriented actions. You take those calculated risks you'd normally avoid. You push through challenges for way longer.
Right, because a setback isn't proof of failure anymore.
Exactly. It's just an information gathering step. And all of this, the increased action, the persistence, it naturally attracts opportunities that just, they don't even appear for the person who's just sitting around waiting for permission to succeed.
It's the difference between asking, can this work?
Yeah.
And deciding, this has to work, so how do I make it happen?
That's a perfect way to put it. And the book is full of stories about ordinary people doing extraordinary things. They weren't geniuses, they were just committed believers. And that belief changed their behavior.
Which leads right into the next point, doesn't it?
Right.
You need to reinforce that belief.
Yeah.
This is the link between the internal feeling and the external evidence, building confidence through action.
Yes. This is so crucial because confidence is so misunderstood. So many of us wait until we feel confident before we take action.
And Schwartz just flips that completely.
Completely. He says confidence is not a prerequisite. It is the result of action. You actively manufacture it.
That's a really important distinction. It's not about feeling good. It's about using your physical self to influence your mental state. So what are the practical steps here?
He gets very specific. A lot of it is about your physical presence, like walk with purpose. Don't shuffle. Move like you have somewhere important to be.
So you literally act the part of the person you want to become.
You have to. You make eye contact. You speak clearly and with conviction. You don't let your voice trail off at the end of a sentence.
The positive feedback loop.
Exactly that. You take one small action. You walk with purpose. That gives you a tiny little internal boost of confidence. That boost then helps you take a slightly bigger step next time. The whole mechanism is about pushing through that initial discomfort, even when you feel like a total fraud inside. That's what rewires your brain.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting for me. Once you're taking action, you have to protect that momentum. You have to make sure your internal and external worlds are supporting you, not dragging you down. Let's talk about creative thinking. Now, he's not talking about being an artist here, is he?
No, not at all. For Schwartz, creative thinking is just practical, successful problem solving. It means training your mind to always see possibilities and, just as important, actively rejecting that it can't be done thought.
So how do you do that? What are the actions?
There are two big ones our sources highlight. First, you have to start asking better questions.
Meaning what?
Well, instead of a dead-end question like, why did this fail, which just leads to blame, a big thinker asks, okay, what are 3 totally new ways we could approach this?
It's forward-looking.
It's always forward-looking. And the second part is focusing your energy on solutions, not problems. Don't dwell on the obstacle. That just makes it bigger. See the obstacle, acknowledge it, and then immediately pivot your brain to finding a way around it or through it.
So that's the internal system. What about the external one? This seems just as important. Managing your environment.
Oh, it's absolutely critical. You can have the best mindset in the world, but if you're in a growth-hostile environment, you're just not going to get very far. It's like a mental anchor.
And the book is pretty ruthless about this, right?
Very direct. The advice is you have to, without compromise, avoid negative people. He treats negativity like it's contagious.
And on the flip side,
You have to strategically surround yourself with motivators, with successful thinkers, with people whose actions already reflect the scale you're aiming for. Your social circle needs to be pulling you up, not holding you down.
and it's not just people, is it? It's also what you consume.
Right. You have to manage your mental diet, seek out uplifting books and content, and just ruthlessly eliminate the junk. Gossip, pessimistic conversations, he flags those as deadly to big thinking. You're basically creating a high-performance conditioning lab for your mind.
Of course, that path is never going to be a straight line. Setbacks are going to happen. How does Schwartz teach us to deal with that? Let's get into the resilience piece. Turn defeat into victory.
This is a huge mental shift. He reframes failure completely. It's not an endpoint, it's just preparation.
Preparation. Okay.
If you see a failure as just, data as proof that your preparation wasn't quite right yet, then it have no power over you. It doesn't damage your identity.
So what's the process? How do you actually turn it into a win?
It's a 3-step process. First, you have to learn from it meticulously, not quit. Ask what went wrong, not who's to blame. Second, you try again, but with a smarter strategy based on what you just learned.
And the third part.
This is key. You have to cultivate emotional resilience. Keep your immediate emotions under control. Don't let that sting of defeat spiral into self-doubt. You analyze first, you feel later.
And to keep all of this moving forward, you need a structure. It can't just be a vague wish. That brings us to the final piece of the puzzle. Set goals and back them with action.
Exactly. Vague wishes get you nowhere. Big thinkers set goals that are clear, that are exciting, that force them to grow. And the very act of setting a big goal is itself a powerful statement of belief.
But it's not just about the big, far-off goal, is it?
No, and that's the most practical part. He teaches you how to take that huge vision and immediately break it down into daily, manageable, actionable steps. That's the bridge from the dream to the reality.
That's how you build the discipline and keep the momentum.
Yes, even when that big goal feels impossibly far away, it all comes down to this really simple but powerful message.
Dream big, start small, act consistently.
That's the formula.
So let's bring this all together for everyone listening. Why did our source material put so much emphasis on the audiobook version of this? What does it mean for you, the listener, today?
I think it's because this knowledge isn't just intellectual, it has to be motivational. The sources kept saying that the energetic narration and the storytelling, it just makes these ideas feel urgent and practical.
Right, it's not just theory.
It's not. It feels less like reading some old self-help book and more like you're in a personal high-energy coaching session with someone who is demanding that you take action.
And for someone who feels stuck or is afraid to take a risk,
For them, it's a potential game changer. Whether you're a student, an entrepreneur, whatever, the format itself seems to just pump urgency and belief directly into you, which is what you need to make that first move.
absolutely. So to just summarize everything, Schwartz is really saying it takes two things. You have to change your internal belief system, your mindset, and you have to actively change your external system, your actions, and the people around you.
That's it. And that brings us right back to the urgency. If we accept that limitations are self-made, that we can change them, let's leave you with a final thought to really chew on.
Okay.
Think about the single biggest, most common excuse you tell yourself. That one piece of excusitis that comes up again and again. Now ask yourself, what is the one single action, not a thought, a physical action, that you could take today to immediately prove that excuse wrong?
Wow.
That's where the magic actually begins.
A fantastic challenge to end on, taking it from just thinking about it to actually doing something. Thank you so much for sharing your sources and for joining us on this deep dive into what it really means to think big.